What happens when your grief or your loss first hits your body? One of the things that Erica and I are noticing is that so many women
Mm.
are holding back. They're resisting getting the help that they so need for their bodies, their minds, and their souls because they continually say, I'm in too much pain. And that's where we want to take this show today. We have an amazing guest. Her name is Erin Burden. Am I saying that right, Erin?
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. And it's
Yes.
she has a business and it is called Yoga with Erin B. We first met Erin a few years ago where she reached out to me after the loss of her beautiful daughter Dakota. And Erin was absolutely in this place. She and I were talking on Instagram, and I just happened to send her a program called Processing the Pain of Grief that Eric and I had just finished. And I sent it over to her, and she worked the program on her own. And throughout the years, since 2018, we just kept base and touch. But I want to introduce this beautiful woman to you, Erin. Welcome, Erin.
Oh, thank you so much, Sharon. That's so sweet of you. Thank you so much. And thank you for all your help that you've given me.
So, Erin, share with our friends here as much or as little as you like about your story, and then we'll get into the I'm in too much pain.
Okay, well, my daughter Dakota, beautiful, beautiful girl, um, had a horrible fight with her boyfriend. This is the nitty-gritty of it. She seemed to have had a dreadful fight with her boyfriend, and she decided to end her life on the 8th of January 2018. Um, I must say, I feel at peace with her death eventually now because I am a Christian. I believe she's with Jesus, and I just leave it. I don't have to worry where is she now because I know where she is, and I've got faith in that. But she was the most beautiful girl. Her and I used to, we did with, I've got three daughters. Dakota's my youngest, and we used to practice yoga together. And then Dakota and I were talking, and we said, okay, let's maybe do our teacher training together. We could do a little business. And we thought both of us thought this was a fabulous idea. So we'd started our teacher training in January. Well, no, I can't even remember what month. But in 2017, we'd started we'd taken some modules for our teacher training, and I think we did the first few, and then we decided that this school was the school that we had access to here in Nanaimo was not suitable for us. So we withdrew and we left it at that for a while. Then my husband and I went back to South Africa on holiday and just were looking around. The girls were all older. Dakota was just turned 23 in December, and it was the other girls were older. They're 23, 25, and 27, and they'd got along with their lives. And my husband and I were just looking around, seeing if we could move back to Africa in any way. And well, that's totally out of the question now. But then I'd been there a few days, and I just got this most horrific phone call that Dakota had taken her own life, and it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, no, we'd been told she passed away. I'm still careful with my wording because for the longest time I couldn't say that she died.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, only like November last year, I started to acknowledge, okay, she suicided. But either way, it doesn't, however she's gone, she's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And horribly, but I always used to say to the girls, you live your best because God knows when it's your time, and you're always you're gonna go. So I believe that. Doesn't matter where in the world we were, Dakota would have left on that day. And it's just something I live with and accept. And I say, okay, thank you, God, that I had her for as long as I did. But I don't want to focus on her death because that's miserable the whole time. But I want to focus on the good things, like Dakota and I deciding to do our teacher training together. And I'd stayed in bed for literally about 4 months after I I'd got the horrible news, and we were back in Canada, and I couldn't, a lot of the time I couldn't get out of bed. Everybody that's lost a child or someone so dear to them will know that the grief can be debilitating, and you don't want to bath. And the pain, I used to like have painkillers, and it was just, I was in a really bad spot. So I thought, you know what, I've got to, and something made me think, okay, do some yoga. It's probably Dakota telling me, go do some yoga, Mama. I looked online, grief yoga, yoga for grievers yoga. Couldn't find anything. Eventually, I found the 1 or 2 classes from this young girl in Canada, Yoga with Cassandra. She's amazing. But she only had a few classes. And so I did those. And then she had 10-minute classes, started doing those. And I realized, you know what, there's got to be more. There's got to be more grief yoga, because it's, and I don't want to put down people, that the younger people that are doing the grief yoga, but if your kids are older, maybe, I mean, Dakota's probably about the same age as the girls I was doing the yoga from. And
Erin, I'm sorry, okay. I don't mean to cut you off. I just want to jump in there before I lose my train of thought, because this is, thank you so much for sharing your story. It is so, so beautiful. But when you said the words grief yoga, like I had like this physical reaction in my body, because it's like, my brain would never connect those two things together. So I love that you physically, because you have this training, and 2, you have this desire to still maintain your connection to Dakota, which I absolutely 1000% can relate to, which is why I feel like I do this work, because of my voice. Yeah. But to make that, like, I just think that's so beautiful that your heart said grief yoga, like you knew that's what would take for you to start your healing journey and start your process, which I think is so amazing. So one, I want to thank you for putting that together for us. But if I could also ask you, because before we started the show, you mentioned your favorite people to work with are not only people new to yoga, but people new to grief, which I think is extremely profound. Because as Sharon and I know, the new griever is like it's like a little, like a baby. It's like a newborn, you know, because it's like they're just new to this world of all this immense pain and tragedy. So the fact that you work with them, can you share a little bit about how that started and why you specifically wanted to go with the new griever?
Well, because I knew that when I got out, the only way that I was getting out of my pain was because of doing the stretching, doing the movements of the yoga got me out of the pain. And I realized, because, you know, you can take as many bottles of wines as you want, as many painkillers, but the pain that you feel after losing your child it's in a cellular level. And when you do yoga, it brings that out. It's a lot of working with energy, and a lot of, you know, that stuck energy has got to be moved, and it's got to be moved out of the joints, out of the cells of your body. It's got to be moved, like get it out of you. Just do some yoga, or, you know, even if it's not yoga, but do something. Because I know with a lot of Christians, like I was in a grieving moms group for Christians, and they don't want to touch yoga, which I totally understand. You know, it's not something that a lot of Christians feel that they can be doing. But the pain is at a cellular level, and doing the yoga just helps to move the energy, move it out. And sorry.
I'm sorry. I remember in some of our early correspondence, like you said, you couldn't say she died, and then let alone, you know, say about the suicide. How long after you started doing your yoga and really focusing on your healing did it take before you could start saying the words "she died"?
Years, literally years. We're 2022 now, and it was in 2021, November 2021, I said, okay, this is what happened. And I've been able to verbalize it now. And then you know what, I listened to another podcast, and it's like, And it's true, like, don't live in the light. I'd rather focus on the shadow of her life. Live in the light of her life rather than focusing on the shadow of her death, because Jesus overcame death, and we know he rose. And I believe my daughter's there with him, and
Yes.
I could be doing a lot worse things. I could be shooting up heroin, drinking 10 bottles of wine. I think Jesus is going to strike me down dead worse for doing, rather than doing yoga. I don't think I'm going to be struck down dead for doing yoga. Put it that way. I don't know. But,
One of the things I love the connection between you and Erica, in the sense that you both lost children. And one of the things Erica often shares is that after Donovan died, she couldn't say that he died. She could only say the accident. That went on for a very long time. So for all the friends that are out there listening, know that if you can't say your loved one died, it's absolutely okay. It's absolutely okay. One of the other things you said, I have to live in the light of her life. And I believe that to be true, Erin. But also, I think the connection between you doing the yoga or doing some sort of grief healing work helps you get to that part where you can live in the light of her life. Prior to that, you're totally in the darkness, I believe.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Dark and pain, darkness and pain. It's just like it clouds your mind and your body. Erica, Shem, how long did it take before you could say Donovan had?
It was definitely over a year. It took me over a year, because after I had two completely different grieving experiences after each of the boys. When Austin died, he was 10. So I felt I was more accepting of it, because I understood, accidents happen, and, we don't understand why we are chosen for this, but it happens. And so I took I think I definitely took a healthier approach from the beginning. But when Donovan died, all bets were off. And like you said, debilitating is a word I use over and over again to describe that immense pain that just, it takes over every facet of your life, your body, your mind, your soul even. And my connection, when I lost Donovan, it was like I was in self-preservation mode. So my brain wouldn't allow me to, it gave me like small doses, I felt, so that I could keep functioning, because I felt like I was gonna like short circuit like a computer and just like be fried on all levels, But it was definitely over a year.
Yeah, shame.
Let me ask you a question. What do you think, speaking to all the women out there that are in pain right now, what was the one thing that surprised you most about the grief?
I couldn't believe that I could actually be in so much pain. I couldn't believe that I could feel so much sadness, like that I could feel the sadness in my heart and on an emotional level, but that it was in my body too, that every part of my body ached, and I was just in so much pain. Did you feel that way, Erica?
It was shocking. It's like you think it's going to kill you because the pain is so immense. You feel like you can't survive it.
Yeah. No, my husband and I wanted to kill us. I was saying, okay, just let me, please, God, just take me,
Yes. If I didn't wake up to see another day, I was not going to be upset about it.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
So let's connect that early pain to when you first started doing the yoga, Erin. When you first started to move, were you resistant to the moving? Was part of your body resistant to actually, doing the moves and getting out there?
No, because I'd had a history of yoga. And it was after, like, in about April, I was in so much pain. I just like, there's got to be something. And I typed in the computer grief yoga, because I remember, okay, yoga is going to help, with look, I have 3 teenage girls, okay, and I moved to Canada with 3 teenage girls. Oh my goodness, I was actually going to be drinking wine or if I was going to be like doing yoga or something. It was nerve-wracking. So I knew from my previous history with, you know, going to gym, and that yoga was going to help me with my stress, my anxiety, and my just all the high-strung emotions that having 3 teenage girls will do to you.
Yeah.
So, oh my goodness, they gave me a ride for my money, I'll tell you. But and it's all good now. We all get along very well. But oh goodness. So after a few months, I realized that I've got to do something for my body, because
Yeah.
the pain was just stuck. And all literally I could do was like a 10-minute class, and then I'd fall back into bed and I'd lay there like for another day or two before I
Tell
could
us
start.
a little bit more of what it was like when you just did the 10 minutes. What did you notice?
I could breathe easier.
Yeah.
I think it depends where your grief sits. A lot of the time it'll be like in the sacral, in the sacral area, or in, it'll obviously be in the front part of your body, but it's going to be depending where you feel it the most. Is it in your chest? And then when I started doing just more of the movements, I said, oh, okay, I feel a bit better. And I get back into bed, but I get back into bed less achy and less in pain.
Yeah.
And you know what? I just started with the 10 minutes, and bless that woman. I said to her, thank you. Because eventually, I mean, I took extra training with her in Yin Yoga. I've done extra training with Cassandra in Yin Yoga. It's just like, it's healed my body so much. That's all I can say. It's moved the energy. And you know what, okay, so you're going to probably think, well, Erica may understand this, but I feel Dakota with me when I'm doing the yoga a lot of the time. I feel her with me. And, oh, I love pulling up my mat and getting there. It's like, oh, I can feel my daughter's presence with me. Not all the time, but I do get to feel that I feel her with me.
Oh,
And I'm so
love
thankful.
that.
I do.
Absolutely love that. Oh.
That, yeah, so
That's so beautiful. I love hearing that. Question for you. What surprised you about society and those around you as you were experiencing the grief?
well, my doctor told me, my dear South African doctor said, we're strong people. The South Africans are very strong people. After 3 months, let's get you back to work.
Wow.
And yeah, and come on, you're South African, you must do this. Like, are you kidding me? But anyway, I couldn't even say that. I just thought that because I couldn't verbalize it. I think my work wanted me to get back, but they were love my old boss, my boss. I just love them. They were so helpful, Shane. And then first of all, I had to see I couldn't get around to mix with people, and only October last year I had dinner with 3 ladies, and that was just disastrous. So I sort of keep back from a lot of people. I go, I do my yoga, and then I retreat back into my little safe cocoon. I'm not comfortable just going out mixing around people too much. I think there's an expectation that get over this, come on, move on. It's time. Look at the time sort of thing. And it's just like, I'm a different person. Once you've lost your child, I'm sure, Erica, you'll see you're a different person. You're not the person that went to bed the night before your child died. You're a different person. And you're like, a new me is emerging.
Yes.
And the thing is, it is, we're always going to always be changed. And I choose that I'm going to live in the light rather than, in the shadows, because I want Dakota's life to always be remembered. I want to be a blessing rather than, like, oh, this happened and it's cursed my life. No, I want to be thankful. I want to always just realize my life is a blessing, and how I can help others, how Dakota can help others. I think we're here to help each other through.
I love that. That's so beautiful. I know for me, I definitely experienced that same thing. Home it's like your safety net. It's your cocoon, your it's like my own little private sanctuary.
Yeah.
And I know I didn't attribute this to my grief because of all the work that I've done, but Sharon, when we started to do our healing seminars and we'd alternate between California and Texas, when I would get to California, I would just be so, it was like, I was so cranky. And I know Sharon always like, what is wrong with you? But it was like, I was out of my safety net. I was away from home and I just couldn't, it's like, it takes me like a day to kind of come out of that because it's like, it's a physical transformation to put yourself out there into the world when you have been through this. And I don't like it. I want to just stay here in my bubble, right here at my table and do all my work on Zoom because this is safe and it's comfortable. And it's just such a struggle to move out into the world because people don't understand and they don't care, most of the time.
Yeah, totally. That's so true. That's so true.
One of the, I'm sorry, Erin. This is such a great conversation. I have so many things to talk about. One of the things that we said early on, and I want to go a little bit deeper into this, is that Erica and I have noticed this too, and you mentioned it, is that a lot of times women won't come to do the work because they say, I'm in too much pain. It's almost as if the grief freezes you in time. You just get 100%. Stuck right there, right? And so, and I often say this, and I believe it to be so true, is that with the program that we do, it's not a hard sell. You have to take one step towards us in order for us to help you. We can't drag you through. It was just like when Austin died. There was no way I could, even as many grief support groups as I was sending Erica to, it didn't matter until she took one step towards grief healing that it absolutely changed. My question for you is, what do you know why you think so many people don't come to do the healing yoga? Is it
because you're, I think, okay, maybe it's the spiritual beliefs because of being a Christian. I know in South Africa the church there wasn't wild on, like I had an injury and they don't want you to do yoga, so maybe it's spiritual belief. Maybe because I felt paralyzed, and if I hadn't, like you feel your body's in so much pain, you don't think that you can. That it's sort of like you're thinking, no, moving is going to hurt me more. And I don't want to move and stretch my arms up over my head. No, hell, that's going to hurt my shoulders and my, stretch up, it's going to hurt the side of my body. So you think straight away that the pain is going to be there. The few ladies that are following me and that have bought into, like the one lady bought, I know it's, and I still have a bit of a conundrum in my brain about this, but the chakra yoga, I did a series on that. And she just said like, wow, this worked. This is fabulous. This worked for me because she's realizing how much the moving is helping her. So I think women, if religious, you don't want to move because you're in pain, you don't realize, or they've got a heart issue or something, there's yoga has got so many benefits, and it's not, I think you could definitely, yoga can be a spiritual practice, 100%, no doubt, if you want to take it that way. But there is even Christian yoga, and it's going to be up to you what you do get when you get onto your mat with your intention. If you're going to, I spend a lot of my time praying and thanking God on my mat, and especially in the end pose. For the longest time, I'll tell you, I couldn't do lying down, which is Shavasana. I could not do that. So when I'm doing grief yoga, I avoid that pose for the women because for me, it was triggering. That was a trigger point, and I couldn't get to that. But I've seen it. Okay, now I'm fine. I can do this, and you know what, if it's going to work, you've got to take the step, like you said. You've got to take the first step.
That's all it takes. Is just take one step towards us and we can help you. And here's the other thing about getting out of grief is that to get out of the pain, you have to take action steps. And action steps that you, the griever, have to take, whether it's moving towards Erin and doing the yoga, moving towards Erica and myself and doing the much needed heart work. But you,
Or
the
both.
has to take one step forward and say, I am going to go after this pain.
Mm-hmm.
Erica and I both know that we have met women that 30 years after their loss, they're still grieving because they never did the much needed work. Erin, I want to ask you this question. Where can people find you? Where can they most find you?
Okay, so I've got a YouTube channel. There's free yoga there, which I've just recently started. So there's 10-minute classes on YouTube, Yoga with Erin B. I've got my website, and that'll also take you to the YouTube. You can find it through there. If you want to do in person, you've got to come to Nanaimo or Mexico. And on Instagram too.
Awesome. I want to end this show, and I'm going to give both of you guys a chance. So Erin first and then Erica. What is the one bit of advice you want to give to the mom that's out there grieving right now that says, I'm in too much pain? What would you tell her?
Go after it. And you girls, you two ladies have always said that. I started listening to your podcast, and you know what, listening to the podcast motivated me. You know what, Sharon, I think this work is not going to end, because I know I cannot stop doing the yoga. It's got to be something, even if for me now, after so many years, I'm still doing, even if I have to just do 10 minutes a day, you've got to do the work daily. And even, I'm sure you've seen that, Erica, maybe, you know, it's got to be something. You can't just, oh, it's gone, never mind, they've gone, I'm not going to think about them. No, you've got to do your work every day to keep the pain away. That's how I feel. So please, it's Yoga with Erin B, because I see there's a Yoga with Erin, but it's yogawitherinb.com.
We're going to put the link in the show notes. Erica, what about you? To the woman that says, I'm in too much pain.
I think coming from my personal mindset after losing Donovan specifically, my brain told me nothing was going to help. There's nothing out there that's going to help you.
100%.
Even having the tool set that we have, this is after knowing what I knew about grief, I still felt there's nothing that's going to help you. Mm-hmm. And you have to do something, though. That I learned the hard way, because after sitting and resisting, sitting in my pain for a solid year, resisting, I was deteriorating on all fronts, as a wife, as a mother, as a sister, as a friend. And I was literally going to waste away had I just stayed in that place. So there's something out there for you, whether it be grief yoga, grief healing, talk therapy. There has to be something. Like Sharon said, the action steps. Grief will attack you on all fronts if you allow it, and it will go after you physically. That is the last place it ends up. So you don't want to end up being a person with chronic illness as a result of your debilitating broken heart. So there is something for you. You just got to go find it. And the last thing I'm going to say is, it's such a blessing to be in a place with like-minded and broken-hearted people.
Oh, yes.
Because they absolutely know where you're coming from, and you don't even have to share your story. They just understand. So find that place.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. Yeah, it's just, you've got to find your place, and you've got to go towards that grief.
Yes.
Work in it. And just be thankful that we had the children for as long as we had them.
Absolutely, because they were definitely a blessing.
Yeah.
Erin, thank you so much for coming to our show and being our guest. Everyone, I'm going to put the links and the bio for Erin in the show notes, and it's Yoga with Erin B. And you can contact her at yogawitherinb@gmail.com.
Thank you, Erin.
Thank you so much, Erica and Sharon. I love you, sisters. I really do. You're fabulous.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, friends.
Bye.